hosts, June
and Pris. Today's guests are
Fareed and Alvina.
and today's guests are
FIMSO's president,
Alvina.
and vice president.
Fareed.
Yay!
Now let's start with our first episode. So today we're just gonna be talking about what FIMSO and how studying med school is in China. Okay?
Mhm.
So first off, let you guys introduce what is FIMSO? Go.
You want to start?
So the acronym FIMSO basically stands for Fudan International Medical Students Organization.
Yeah.
So it's basically organized by the international medical students who go to Fudan University, and it's a student-run organization, and we do a whole bunch of things.
Yeah, we do a lot of things. The things that we do ranges from teaching people how to study, academic committee, to having fun, throwing parties, to telling people what they can do after they graduate, and also contributing back to the community by doing charity work and all that. Yeah. So
What committees are there in FIMSO?
I think there are 5 committees: academic, publicity, professional, philanthropy, and social committee. Yeah. So there's 5 committees.
So so what does each committee do? Can you sort of explain and elaborate on what each committee?
I'll start with philanthropy.
Yeah.
Because I used to be very involved in that committee, and you can talk about the other ones.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So philanthropy committee, what we do is we give back to the community, and by that we have a lot of events. Like for example, we did Spirit Week where we donated money to this child who had a heart disease, and then we also have other events like International Heart Fest and just a lot of events to contribute back to the community.
Yeah, all the committees do really, really great work. So we also have academic committee. We organize talks, and we organize a lot of tutorials for subjects that are difficult. It's just a way for seniors to help our juniors succeed academically. For professional committee, we organize talks to make the students aware of all the career opportunities they may have when they graduate. What else do we have? We have social committee, which is the fun committee. So we have a lot of parties and a lot of social events like FIMSO Olympics, which is one of the biggest events to look forward to in our calendar.
And talking about parties, we have our Freshies party coming up on the 27th of September, so make sure you join. Are you guys joining?
Yes.
Of course they are.
I didn't see you in the group chat.
I
But
am.
Oh wait,
you're in
the
it.
sign up is out already.
Wait, I didn't know that.
I hope everyone comes.
Okay, what about the last committee, publicity?
Publicity. Oh, I used to be in publicity. So what we do is we manage the different social media accounts that FIMSO has. Like for example, our WeChat articles, our Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and we also have a website.
Publicity also has one of my favorite entities
Oh!
in FIMSO,
yes.
which is photography club. So if you're very
Apologies.
creatively inclined, you can join photography club. And sometimes there are photography challenges and photography outings, which is quite fun.
That's very nice. Yeah, great. How about MBBS or what are the courses that they offer, Fudan offer that is open to international students? What do you guys know?
Oh, the English taught programs?
Yeah.
Because I feel like international students, they can apply to any program they want. But if you want specifically English taught programs, we have the MBBS program, which is what we're all in. And then there's also the UIPE program, which is business school, I suppose.
Economics, I think, yeah.
Economics.
So what about the MBBS, the English taught MBBS? Because I think there's also a Chinese one, right? So how does it differ from the English one and the Chinese one? What's the difference?
The English one is 6 years, and it has the first year would be your preclinical years? No,
Pre-med.
Pre-med,
Pre-med,
yes.
yeah.
And then the second to third year are the preclinical years, and then year 4 to year 6 would be like the clinical years. But for the Chinese program, it's either the 5-year program or the 8-year program. And what do I know about the 5-year program? It's in Chinese. What else do you know?
I think it's basically the same. It's just a slightly more accelerated, and also there are some things that they have to do which we don't, and there are some things we have to do that they don't. Like they also have to do things like medical English and physical education,
Oh yeah.
We have to do medical Chinese.
whereas we have to do medical
we're doing
Chinese.
medical
Yeah,
Chinese.
yeah, we have to do a few like Chinese courses like China Survey, which was so much fun.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
And we learned about all the dynasties.
yes,
That was
yes. Chinese history was
amazing.
so great.
Beautiful.
Mm.
Do you guys remember what's the longest river?
Yangtze. Is it? Yangtze River?
Yangtze?
Is it not?
Oh yeah, it is.
The only river I remember.
Yes.
But like one very meaningful river was the Yellow River.
Oh yeah.
Huang.
Yeah.
The other river.
Beautiful.
Uh-huh.
That's the one that brought in the economy, I think. in
Yes, UIP students.
Okay, yeah. And also the 8th-year program has like a doctorate degree. It's a doctorate degree, I believe. But yeah, it's not really what a lot of the international students go after. Okay, so like next one is a more casual questions like what is your experience studying like med school in China or in Fudan in general?
For me, it's great. Like, I absolutely love it. I know, so when I first decided to come to med school, it was a bit of a spontaneous decision. So it wasn't like, I didn't really think very much. But it turned out to be a really good decision that I do not regret at all. Because I think, like, being in this country, which is so different to anything I've ever experienced, it made me grow in ways that I could never imagine. And I think, like, learning the culture, learning the language, that's as much a part of this course as the medicine, I think.
Very nice. How about you?
For me, I also really like studying here. I think that studying in Fudan has given us a lot of opportunities, especially like hands-on opportunities to like for example for our like what we're learning right now, we're learning OBGYN and like peds, and what we did was every afternoon we go to like hospitals and then we get to experience patient history taking and all that, and I feel like these are very important skills for us in the future.
Very nice. Do you want to share your experience? Like your experience in China. I feel like your experience would be slightly different because you were here
Oh, yeah,
during
that's true.
COVID. Maybe you could share like how it was during COVID as
During
compared to
COVID.
us. Yeah.
Yeah, I was here during COVID, like during first year, and when I was here, we still had to go to class since we were in Shanghai, and there were only 6 of us in class while everybody else was stuck online. So that was an experience, but it was quite interesting because like we were a really small class, so then we had more time to really ask the teachers questions and get to know the teachers as well. And yeah, I think Shanghai is a really great place, especially for international students, because you really get to like immerse in the culture, and it's not that like drastically like it's not like that drastically
You're not
difficult.
thrown in the ocean,
Yeah, you're not
basically.
thrown in the ocean. It's not drastically like like impending that you have to like you don't know what's going on or don't know how to live here, because like Shanghai is the most international city like in China basically, so it's very easy to like get to know like assimilate into the city easily.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like it's very foreigner friendly as well. So there's actually a lot of expats in Shanghai. So like, it's really easy to get around basically, and English is everywhere, so it's not too bad.
And
like,
also like Shanghai is so convenient.
Yeah, it's so
Yeah, it's
convenient.
very convenient.
I would like order groceries on my phone and it would arrive in like 30 minutes.
Yeah,
Like,
like yeah.
I'm mind blown.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's so convenient because you can order anything from your phone to come to your house immediately. Like you can order food, you can order groceries, you can order medication, and like literally anything online that you need, you can just order it to your house. You don't have to leave your house.
But if you do decide to leave your house, like the public transport is
Oh,
so
it's so
fantastic.
convenient as
You can
well,
go
yeah.
anywhere like
It's
within
really,
half an
really,
hour
yeah.
and you'll be there.
and yeah, like if there's rain, just use your phone. You can just call a taxi.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
great.
and the taxis here are really cheap as
Yeah,
well.
very cheap.
So, yeah,
Very
and
nice.
and also there's just so much good food to eat here.
I
Like
agree.
you don't have to be scared that oh you're coming to like a Chinese place so you can only eat Chinese food. No, they have like so many different kinds of cuisines. We eat like so many different kinds of cuisines like every day. We eat even like Spanish food and like
Oh, yes.
Japanese food. Yeah, there's a lot of
Peruvian food.
Peruvian food. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Okay, now going into the more like the FAQs that we've been getting from all of our social media platforms, right?
Oh, like what?
Oh, like
Like-
Instagram.
Like our 小红书?
Oh, yeah.
Our Xiaohongshu. Yes, we are blowing up with Xiaohongshu. Okay, yeah, so we have like a lot of prospective like Fudan students, like maybe MBBS students as well. So they have a lot of questions regarding the course and that, especially with education. So like, how's the schedule? How's the workload? How do you guys balance it out? You know?
I feel like a lot of us, at least in our friend group, we would have like a study hard, play hard kind of mindset. So we would study a lot, kind of a lot together, and then we would also play really hard. But I don't think the workload is that bad. We don't really get a lot of homeworks. It's just a lot of
Content.
content. Yes, and
Self-study.
yes, self-studying is very required. Yeah, what we would do is our classes aren't that much either.
It's a lot.
It-
It's a lot.
No, like, have you seen the 05学生?
I mean, they have like, they're supposed to squeeze whatever we have in 5 years.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
But comparatively, we're okay.
more relaxed.
Relatively more relaxed compared to them. But okay, fine. We have 8 a.m.s every day.
Yeah. For year 5, you have 8 a.m. classes every day.
To like 5.
Yeah, so yeah. Like for the clinical years, like year 4 and 5, we have our morning classes are all theory classes in the classroom, and then afternoons is practicals in the hospital. So it's like a full day of like classes, and it gets very tiring.
It does.
Yeah.
Especially when like hospitals are far away. You have to travel, you spend time to travel. It's a lot.
I think like in terms of like how challenging the course is, it would definitely like vary based on person to person. But I think like medicine in general is a very academically challenging sort of course to get into, and I think that's something you should probably expect.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also like different years and different semesters vary in terms of content and in terms of the number of courses that you have to take. So like I feel like year 5 is intense,
Okay.
which is like your most hated year or least favorite year.
My least
Yeah,
favorite
your
year.
least favorite year.
Probably like year 1.
Yeah, same. I did not like year 1.
I didn't like year 1.
Yeah, because year 1 courses are basically high school 2.0. Yeah, it's just
Oh,
all
that
like
is
the
true.
basic.
Organic chemistry like
Yeah,
killed
it's not-
me.
Computer, like why?
Oh my god, I hated computer science!
Designing Flappy Bird, that's not very medical related.
Yeah, we had to like program our own game. or
Game,
something.
yeah.
But I heard that because like if you are doing research, you might need like a bit of like coding
Yeah.
experience.
You do.
So that's why it's there, but personally not my thing.
Yeah.
I hate it. Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel like, so I hated year 1, but I feel like year 2 was the hardest year. Like academically, mainly because it was a big jump straight into like medical subjects. And so it's like you need time to really like get into like the groove of it. And like because like it's your first time learning all these medical subjects, you need a lot of time to really absorb the content. So I feel like year 2 was kind of intense for me too.
If you had to summarize each of the years, how would you like summarize them?
Okay.
Year 1.
Year 1 is high school 2.0.
Okay.
Year 2 is you're thrown in the ocean.
I agree. It was very difficult, like all of a
Thrown in
sudden.
the ocean. Okay.
Because anatomy and physiology, those were so
Yeah.
difficult.
I feel like year 3 was more free. Like year 3, you
doing year 3.
Year 3 was like diagnostics, pharmacology. Year 3 sem 2 was
It
really
was the first
chill.
taste of actual like medical life.
functional lab.
Yeah.
Oh,
That was like second semester, but
Oh, yeah.
first semester.
First semester was like
pathophysiology.
pathology.
Oh, that was hard.
That was hard. That semester was like jam packed with like heavy subjects. That was tough.
Yeah. But I feel like because we really had the foundation of year 2, it was easier to like kind of like understand and like get the groove of it like in year 3.
I mean, basically the 2 years, year 2 and 3 is basically like the base of medicine. Like if you don't you don't understand like the basics of like medicine, then going up to like the clinical years is gonna be tough for you to understand. So like in terms of like medicine, I feel like you really have to master your preclinical subjects really well to understand. Yeah.
It's like really understanding the mechanisms of your body and why your body reacts to things. Yeah.
Yes.
All the pathways, the
Yeah.
biochemical pathways.
The Krebs cycle, anyone? I think year 4 was very chill though.
Year
We had so much fun in year 4.
Yeah, but we had a lot of fun. I feel like by then we kind of gave up.
Did we? No, your first was like the TCM year.
Oh my god, it was so much
Yeah.
fun. I love
and
TCM.
Like one thing people don't say about like studying med school in China is that you learn TCM.
Oh yeah, and it's actually very interesting. I really think people should learn TCM because it's like I feel like at the start people might be a bit put off by TCM because it's very foreign to them. But there is like studies and research that some parts of TCM does work, and I feel like it does work like
And I think that's very important because once you have like studies that show that a particular type of medicine is effective, it's not traditional medicine anymore, it is modern medicine.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And the thing is that like the TCM in China, it's not like how they use TCM in China. It's not just they only focus on TCM. They do this thing called integrated medicine. So like if you go to like the TCM clinics, they also do like X-rays or like MRI, CT scans, like to actually like rule out other diseases. And then but the medication, the way they treat you is via like TCM, like herbs and pills and stuff like that.
And these components are like very heavily researched in our labs, so they are relatively like effective.
Yes.
I would say.
So I do think it's a good like it's good to actually like learn about it.
Yeah. And like how a lot of people have been approaching like medicine. Like sometimes you would take herbs like as supplements. So that's sort of TCM if you think about it. Like ginkgo, whatever you call it. That's like TCM, but like people are taking it as supplements. Like it's actually proven to be like good for the body and stuff like that. So it's actually really good. Okay. Now we can move on to the next question. So like how, like with the course and everything, like how are the professors, the teachers?
I think for me it's a bit of a hit or miss. Like I can tell that most of the professors that we have are like extremely knowledgeable and they're like the best researchers in their class. However, because of the language barrier and also like just because you're a great researcher, it doesn't necessarily mean that you'll be a great teacher. So I feel like some of the time we find professors who are absolutely fantastic and going to their classes is a great experience. But sometimes we have professors who we just drag on and we don't even want to go to their classes. And I think that's true for like most universities.
Yeah, I don't think it's just like our university, like every university is like that. And yeah, we also have to understand that our teachers are Chinese. But they've had overseas experience, that's why they know English. But that's why sometimes but English is not their native language. So sometimes they may struggle trying to like explain it in their own words in English. That's why sometimes they might explain it in Chinese so that's easier for them. And then usually someone in our class would help us translate to the rest of the class.
Shout out to the translators. Yeah. Then speaking of like Chinese, like right, how important do you think Chinese is? Like studying med school in China.
I think that it's very important to learn Chinese, at least like basic Chinese, like conversational Chinese to like ask like, oh, where does it hurt? 这里疼吗? Like all these are like very important because on your 6th year you will be in your internship here, which means that you will be facing a lot of patients in the hospital and you would have to communicate with them, like whether you like it or not. I feel like I know that a lot of people in China, they know how to speak in English, but there are also a lot of like older people. I don't know if that's only for Shanghai, but in Shanghai there are a lot of like older people in hospitals and we would have to communicate with them in Chinese or maybe perhaps even like Shanghainese. But just learning Chinese would be important, I would say.
How about like for you coming from like someone that does not have like from a Chinese background, like how was your experience?
I think just because of how international and how large Shanghai is, like it is definitely livable without knowing any Chinese because there is English in most places, public transport totally fully in English. However, I do think that my experience would have been significantly more enriched if I were able to fluently converse in Chinese, especially like, and that's why I think like in the whole process, learning Chinese is very important, because when you're learning Chinese, not only are you learning the language itself, but a lot of like the cultural nuances which help you like know and understand your patients a lot better.
Yes, our HSK graduate! Yay!
Yes, so the way that I've been learning Chinese is through the HSK textbooks. So far it's been a good experience because I really like the texts in the book. However, is that the most effective way? I don't think so, because like the HSK learning program, it focuses more on reading and writing and listening rather than speaking. So I don't know if I will be very capable in speaking through this process. But I think like however you're learning, just giving some effort in learning the language is recommended.
Yeah.
I would also give a tip for those who wants to learn Chinese. Watch C-dramas. Because when I came, my Chinese was actually really bad. But I watched a lot of C-dramas and I really forced myself to like speak to people in Chinese, and that really improved my Chinese a lot.
I think just surrounding yourself in the environment, like in the Chinese speaking environment, would just like, you know, amp up your Chinese learning skills, I believe. Yeah.
And also like you're coming to a foreign country, you're coming to China. So like you should come trying to embrace their culture, embracing their immersing yourself in the culture and like what they speak in. So I think Chinese, like learning Chinese is really important when you're coming here.
I would add to that as well. Like, I think if you're coming here and if you're doing this program, you need to have like a very, very open mind to everything, because you'll be challenged with things that you probably have never experienced before. And if you have like a really open mind to things, I feel like you'll have a very enjoyable experience.
Yeah. And it's also like very important to embrace the differences in our cultures and like in the way we think and understand things. That's just how you like get to like really understand people.
Nice. Okay, now talking about like exams and study material. So like, how is the exams here for you?
I think they're okay. I feel like as long as you go through the effort to really go through all the content, I don't think you will fail. It's really easy to pass as long as you put in the effort and to do the work.
Some of our courses are assignment based, so instead of doing an exam, we would have to write a paper about something.
I feel like it's harder to do well in those assignment based
Oh, it does depend on your background.
Yeah,
Have you
it
ever
does.
written a paper before and stuff? Yeah.
We also have quite a few presentations to do, presentations and group work.
Yeah.
And because of the communicative nature of medicine, that's something we have to work a lot on.
Yeah. Also, there's we have this course called Functional Lab, which is fully hands-on experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty much great on that, and also our lab reports. But that was a really good exam, one of the exams that I like, because it's very interesting field. So
yes, we have to dissect mice and rabbits and
Mice
kill them.
and rabbits and these
Frogs, toads. Yeah.
I think they're
And Alfie cried.
I did.
Yeah, I actually, the first time I killed a rabbit, I went home and cried.
Oh no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now moving on to a lighter note, how about the study materials? Is it the same as everyone else around the world, or do they have their own book and stuff like that?
They do have their own books. Our professors write books. I think they write it in Chinese and then they're translated into English.
Yeah.
But do we really use them? I don't. Not
really.
really.
I feel like we use them more in the lower years, year 2 and 3, during the preclinical, because some of the content taught in the Chinese curriculum is a bit different. So some of the things that we were taught in the preclinical years is it's not found in international textbooks. So but it's only a few topics that isn't found in international textbooks. So we will use the Chinese translated textbook to learn those content. But mostly mostly the textbook we use is international textbooks.
Yeah.
I think it also depends on the way that you like to study. I know some of our classmates, they really love studying from textbooks. Whereas for me, I have never used a textbook in the entire Fudan career. I just don't enjoy the process of learning from textbooks. I think there are some great resources, the PowerPoint presentations that are sent to us by the professors are usually sufficient information to be able to pass your exams. But if you want even more things on top of that, like there are some video resources and things online that you can just have a look through.
There are so many great resources online that you can use. Like I would definitely recommend Osmosis, Ninja Nerd, and Boss.
Sketchy.
Sketchy. Yes, like Pathoma for pathology. Yeah, there's just a lot of resources out there that you can use and make use of them.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's like how you choose to study. And but the materials, it's the same elsewhere. I think we're all using the same books everywhere. You use either Kaplan's, like what else? Like those few same like publishers. It's all the same books that we're using. It's just that,
But also in regards to the question, I think like in terms of medicine, there are geographical variations. Like there are cases that we would see here in China that you won't necessarily see elsewhere, which I think is quite interesting to learn about as well.
Can we ask everyone what is like your study method? How do you study?
For me, I'm a big like Anki person. Like I make Anki cards for like almost every subject that we have, and I would use Osmosis videos as well to supplement that. And I feel like in terms of like what resources to use, it really depends on which country you're looking into practicing. And like for example, if you are planning to go to the US, then you would do the US MLE stuff. So like Words and Beyond and like Pathoma. But if you're going to the UK, for example, you would use like other resources related to that.
Could you explain to the people who don't know what Anki is?
Anki is like a flashcard app where like you can use your own cards. You can make your own cards on the app, and or you could also like download like decks online and then import them into your Anki. So and then what it does is like so every day you would have like these cards that are due, and it uses like spaced repetition to help you remember the content being taught. And I think it's great. It's fantastic. Everyone should try to use Anki.
Do you do it every day?
Okay. You're supposed to do it every day, so that there's like a spaced repetition, so that you remember things, like you recall things according to like the different timings. I feel like I would recommend it like a lot for like anatomy. In fact, I actually sent my anatomy cards to the year 1 kids. So if you're doing Anki, you can, if you're learning anatomy, you can use my cards.
Use Alvina's cards.
So far, I've gotten 1 good review from Lawrence.
We need more.
I need more good reviews for my cards. Yes.
Great.
I have never really gotten into Anki, I'm ashamed to say.
Oh no.
I don't know why. I don't have the discipline for that. And then but I have heard like raving reviews of Anki from a lot of people. I think I'm more of like a past paper girly. Like like I prefer studying from past paper questions because I feel like for a set amount of content there's only so many ways you can ask about that, and I feel like if you go through lots of past paper questions then you invariably would be able to pass your exams.
Are you a study throughout the semester or a crammer?
A crammer. Definitely a crammer. I don't recommend it. But it depends on each person's study habits, I guess. Like traditionally I've been fairly good at cramming. I am starting to like experience a lot of burnout though, like the more we're advancing in terms of like our academic years. Because the higher up you go, the more content that you have to cram, and it's not very advisable.
How about you?
For me, I am definitely a believer of consistent efforts go a long way. So I study throughout the semester. Like I would go through the content of the lectures that we learn. Like I go through it so that I like understand what we learn, so that I wouldn't be like trying to like relearn all this new information towards the end, like when it's exam season. So I would be like less stressed. And then I'm a notes girly. Yeah, I definitely love making my notes, and like all the juniors have my notes because like I would like give them all out.
They're beautiful. They're color coded.
My
Yes,
notes, it's tables. They're color coded. They're beautifully designed. It's very easy to read, and yes, I love my notes.
What about June?
I think I'm a mixture between these two. So I do past papers like a lot. I maybe analyze them and like figure out which part is like the part that I should put my focus on. And I also make my own notes, and sometimes I use her notes as well. Like whoever shares notes, I'm just like looking whose notes is like better, like collated nicely and stuff like that. I'm just like, ooh, okay, maybe because sometimes if you make your own notes, you might miss things out,
Yeah.
right? So that's why you like comparing. And then I also compare textbooks. So I just collate.
Oh, you're a
stuff.
textbook girly.
Yeah, I used to use like a lot of textbook like back in like basically pre-clinical years.
Yes, same. I was a textbook girly in pre-clinical years, and
Yeah.
I couldn't read
I remember
anymore.
bringing like the thick
Yes,
textbook.
you used to bring it to class, and like
Robinson's
yes,
pathology.
and her textbook has so many like notes, like the
Yeah.
pages with like so many notes.
Yeah, I used to do
and
that, and then I realized like as you advance to like the clinical years, there's just no time
Yeah.
to like really do that anymore, and there's just too much information because the information is not just from one textbook. Because like pre-clinical, it's normally like one or two. Then you just one textbook is enough for one subject. But like in terms of gynecology, you have like Williams, you have like maybe USMLE ones that's really good. So like there's too many books to keep up with. So it's just like I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah,
It's like
same.
maybe occasionally like I'll just look up the PDF or maybe ChatGPT. Yeah, that's all.
Oh, but for clinical years, I use Emboss so much more.
Oh.
Like, I don't like read textbooks anymore. It's like Emboss is just so much more easier to find the information that you need. So I would definitely recommend Emboss too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I use Emboss too.
Yeah.
So we have an Anki girly. We have a past
paper.
girly,
Textbook.
textbook girly, and then
Not
Notes
girly.
Beautiful. Okay, now talking about like med school in China, is there a lot of research opportunities? Like, do you think there is, or have you had any experience with it? Like research, in terms of research.
in terms of research, I feel like there are lots of opportunities for research as long as you like reach out to people. If you reach out to professors who are like doing research on something that you're interested in, they would be very willing to like take you in and like to be part of their team.
I think there is a reason why Fudan is ranked so highly in terms of international universities. Like their research output is significant. So there is a lot of different professors doing research in many different areas. I have not been part of any research yet, but the advice that I've received from seniors is to basically just approach whoever professor's content you like and just ask if they have any research that they're going through.
Yeah, I think it's really important to be proactive here because if you're proactive, you really get a lot more opportunities.
I think just being proactive in life just really help you.
In life, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
A life advice.
Okay, but maybe you know research opportunities might be on the next episode, so stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Okay. So some people also ask about like exchange programs. Do you know if like Fudan offer exchange programs?
I don't.
In terms of exchange programs, a lot of the things you have to like organize by yourself. So Fudan is actually part of this consortium of universities, which allows like easy exchange between those universities. I know like in a lot of Australian universities, they have link with Fudan. So if you're looking to go into like Australia and exchange, it's quite easy. But like the organizers aren't very helpful. So you have to do a lot of work by yourself, a lot of planning, a lot of management by yourself.
Mitchell went for an exchange to Oxford. Is it?
No, he applied to the program and then he had to like stop here for a while.
Yeah.
So it wasn't
yeah.
really an
So it wasn't an
exchange.
exchange. Okay.
But I do know that Fudan has like exchange programs, but it's mainly like clinical electives. Like you know how some of us we're doing like clinical electives outside of Fudan, right?
Yeah.
They do accept I think mainly Austrian universities because that's where all of the students have been coming from the past few years. Like only the clinical electives part, like
Austrian?
the internship. Yeah, Austrian.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yes. Yeah, them. So I think if you're really looking into like maybe exchange programs in Fudan, maybe you could like do your own research. But there is out there, but I'm not too sure which universities are like tied with Fudan. Okay, now the last part of this section is sort of local students interaction. You know, like is there activities or like how often do you have like these interactions with local students?
I feel like FIMSO in general is like a very close, like knitted community. And unfortunately, we don't really interact with the local students a lot, but we've been doing a lot of like activities to like try to have like these cultural exchanges with them. In fact, we're doing one right now. In October, we're gonna have like this.
Glad you mentioned.
It's called Friends Fiesta, where we will be
It's a poster.
we will be collaborating with Zhongshan University. No, not Zhongshan University. We will be collaborating with Zhongshan Hospital. And we will be inviting the local Chinese students and like our MBBS FIMSO international students to come together to have fun, to eat and stuff.
Also, if you're extroverted enough, like Farid, you can make local friends really easily.
He has so
Yeah.
many big friends. Like people just come up to him, you know.
Yeah, just on the streets, they'll just come up to him and like, hey, do you want to be my friend?
I think like yeah, in terms of my experience with like having local friends, people are quite curious, especially if you're like a foreigner. They're curious about where you're from, like what your own life experiences are. But all in all, like a lot of the local students in Fudan tend to be a bit more introverted. So I would probably advise you to be a bit more extroverted, so you can like be outgoing and you can open up conversation with people. I think the more different diversity of people that you have conversations with, the more likely that you will experience something enriching.
Like a good start would be talking to the TA.
Like
Yeah.
our
Emmy!
director.
Emmy!
She's our little TA.
Magnet.
Like being friends with the TA, because the TA are actually like post-grad students, so they're kind of like students as well, but they're just like the teaching assistant for that course. So technically, we're all like university students, so technically we can all be friends, right? So great person to ask for advice is our camera director, Emmy Zhou, at the back.
Emmy Zhou.
Would you like to make an appearance? It's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think in regards to that as well, another like little philosophy that I would like to impart is like very similar to like chemistry. Like you know how like in chemistry where like you increase the surface area and there's more chances of like spontaneous collision, hence the reaction goes through. So I would advise everyone to increase their own surface area as much as they can, so they have like opportunities of like the spontaneous sort of meetings and spontaneous things to happen in their life.
We're just dropping our little words of wisdom here throughout the podcast.
We're just doing this all for the plot.
Yeah. But also in terms of like our studies, we don't actually get a lot of chances to interact with to interact with local students because all our classes are with international students. Like most of your classes are just with the people of the same class. And unless you take elective courses. Elective courses may be with local students or usually are with local students. So that is kind of like the chance where you can actually mingle with local students.
But yeah, I think whatever everyone just said, great advice.
Yes.
No, even not just in China, but maybe everywhere, like elsewhere. You know, great advice. So now moving on to the last part. Okay, today we're talking about like application. So for people that wants to apply to Fudan MBBS or like any other courses, like, so how's the process like?
I just applied through the ISO website. There's a fully English website where you could submit your application. Everything's there, like all the requirements are listed there. And even if you don't meet the requirements, you can just still try.
Yeah, I also applied through the ISO website. And yeah, it's very clear cut. You just have to send in your documents. I believe you have to write like a personal statement and all your achievement that you've had throughout like your past undergraduate degree or high school, your academic achievements as well as like volunteer work and stuff like that. And then you're called to an interview. For us, it was online because we were the OG COVID year. The interview can range from like 5 minutes long to like 15 minutes long. And the questions can range from simple things like why do you want to do medicine to much more complex things like how would you handle COVID or like AI.
Did you guys write personal statements?
I did.
I
So
did.
what documents do you need to hand in during the submission process?
Personal statement. I know we also needed like 2 references from 2 different people. Also a reference from like a high school teacher or principal. And
Your
like
transcripts.
your transcripts, your academic transcripts, and there was some other things too. So like certificates and things like that.
That's nice.
And also for those who are worried about what like grade requirements are needed for your specific country's high school exam, or what subjects you need to do to get into this school, all the information is online. Just search up like Fudan MBBS on Google, and like all the requirements that is needed is just all there. So yeah.
Though I would like to make a correction to the website. So for the Australian students out there, it says that you need Maths Extension 2, but you actually don't. You don't.
You do not need that.
You don't need that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for Malaysians, there is like another pathway where most of the private Chinese students, where they would use that pathway is through the school itself. It's called Dongzhong, I think. Yeah, some of the students use that pathway, so I think they do like group interviews instead of like individual interviews, like how we got ours done. So yeah, it's you might just have to switch it up a bit, but everyone has like different ways of applying. And then the timeline is usually at around November, December, where you apply, you send in your documents, and then you'll get like a reply in like March-ish, I think, sort of. I don't remember, but sort of. I think it's very similar to universities in like Australia and like UK. The timeline is about the same.
Also, if like the document says that a certain subject is required and you didn't do that subject, I think you can still try to apply and see if you get in or not. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, talking about interview. So could you kindly share how your interview experience was like, yeah?
Oh, okay.
They were spicy.
Like before the interview, I was like, okay, I feel like I need to prepare for it, right? So like I searched up like some information about Fudan, like when was it like when was it established, like and all that like different stuff about Fudan. And they actually asked me questions about Fudan. They were like, what do you know about Fudan? What do you know about like our university in general? So I was like, oh, like Fudan University at that time was like ranked number 3 in China. So I was like, oh, Fudan University is like a great university, fantastic university, ranked like 3rd in China. And yeah, I pretty much was just asked questions about like what I knew about the course, what I knew about medicine and the university itself.
Yeah, that's nice. How about you?
I unfortunately was not as prepared as Alvina was. So I did not search up about like information related to Fudan University, and turned out the question that I was asked, so how many hospitals are affiliated to Fudan University?
Oh no!
my gosh.
And then I'm like, 13.
Wait, how many hospitals?
That is a good guess. How many hospitals are there?
I think it's like 15 or something. Like it's
that's
pretty
close.
close.
That's
Yeah,
pretty
it's pretty
close.
close. So that's what I wasn't too worried, because they're like, oh, yeah, that's pretty close. But some other questions were like, oh, so you don't speak any Chinese, so like, how do you expect to survive in China? And I was like, oh, I really like one of the reasons why I chose to come here in the first place was learning Chinese and the opportunity to learn Chinese. But the question that threw me off the most was they asked like analyze and assess like how various different countries have handled the COVID-19 pandemic. And I was like,
Oh
yeah, I think that was a bit of a challenging question, but yeah, well, I pulled through, I guess.
Yes, you got it.
What about you?
I remember they asked me, how do you feel about killing animals?
Oh.
Yeah, and they were like, well, are you okay with killing animals? And I was just like, yeah. And then they also asked me like, oh, I see that you didn't take physics, like, yeah, just because I didn't take physics. And they're like, oh, I see that you didn't take physics, so will you be okay doing physics like in year 1? And I'm like, yeah, I can learn. I don't know, but it's just like, yeah, even though you didn't take the subject, you can still try applying.
Yeah. For me, it was very different, very drastic. I think mine was like the questions that they asked were really based on my personal statements and like on my like academic stuff, because I've actually done like half a year of med school in Malaysia, so they're like, oh, so you did this, like how was your experience there, and like how do you think it's gonna compare to what you're gonna experience in China? So I was just sharing my experience and like comparing as perhaps, and then it was like, oh, so I've seen like in your personal statement that you want to be a surgeon, and like, and considering that you are a female, how do you think yeah, it's very controversial. It's like, how do you think as a female you'll be perceived as a surgeon in like China or elsewhere? Like, so what are your thoughts on it? So that was my question, which is sort of like,
How did you reply?
I was like, I'm a girl, I can be a surgeon, you know, like
Strong, independent woman.
yeah, and like the teacher and the one that asked me that question was actually a female surgeon. Then she's like, yes, you go girl. I'm like, yeah, so that was like my experience. Yeah.
Oh, those are very interesting questions.
Yeah, so I was like hearing, and then I heard like someone had like an AI.
Oh yeah, the questions got a lot more difficult this
This year,
time, like
right.
this year, yeah. What was the
I
question?
think they asked like, what's your opinion on generative AI and how that will transform like the world?
That was because he wrote about AI in his personal statement.
Oh,
No. It was asked to multiple students.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Oh yeah, also to those who are not sure about how to write personal statements, how did you guys write your personal statements?
I don't remember.
I had a teacher in high school who was like guiding me on how to write it down. So it was like a very template kind of personal statement.
I don't really remember, but I remember I had to write a personal statement anyway because like I was applying to a lot of like other med schools in Australia. I had to tweak that a little bit. Yeah. But I did write about a lot of like my desire to like experience new cultures.
That's nice. How about you?
I don't really remember. Yeah, but I think I wrote about like the reason why I wanted to do medicine was because like I wanted to go on like medical missions in the future to like help like more remote countries and stuff. And then this kind of thing.
Yeah, I also wrote a lot of like my experience because I feel like before you go into medical school, it's important to like maybe go into a hospital to like see what it's like and see if you like medicine or not. Because I did like an attachment at a hospital in my country, and then so I wrote about my experience there, how I felt, and like what happened, all that. To see if I like it.
Yeah, then closing up, we have scholarships and dorms. So does Fudan offer any scholarships that you know of? And like, how's the dorm situation?
So there are scholarships. I think there's like 2 scholarships given to 2 students each year. That's by the Shanghai government. I'm not too sure about the processes through which they select those students. I don't think it's very transparent. In terms of
But I think they changed it though. Like I think they changed. I forgot which one. The excellent scholarship thing. Like they changed it to only for masters or postgraduate students. So now like undergraduates can apply for it. Yeah. So that's why I recommend if you really want a scholarship, you should say it during your interview because like that is actually when they would like prioritize who to give scholarships to. Yeah, because like those in our class who got scholarships is because like the teacher asked them during the interview, do you need a scholarship and stuff? Then they said they wanted a scholarship. So like if you really need a scholarship, it's better to say it during the interview than like try to apply for it afterwards when you're actually already in the school. Because it's very hard to get scholarship when you're already like studying in the school.
I see. I didn't know that.
yeah, same.
Wait, what about dorms?
There are currently no dorms for us at Fenglin. There are dorms in Handan, which is the main campus, but the distance between the main campus and our medical campus is like 1 hour away. And currently our Fenglin dorms are under renovation. I think it will finish soon, probably like in a few weeks, and I feel like they might open for registration soon.
Oh, and also because during the first year is always in Hantan, the main campus. So like the main campus dorms are actually really nice now after they renovated. But then in your 2nd to 6th year, you're in Fenglin the whole time. So then you have to like
Which is a superior campus, actually.
superior campus. Yeah, the Fenglin dorms right now are under renovation, so we can't live in the Fenglin dorm. So everybody, like our whole class, we're all living outside. We're all living like really near Fenglin. Actually, all of us are living in like the same like 小区, the same residential area. Like and it's really fun because like most of us are living with our friends, so we're rooming with each other and like. Yeah, we all have like roommates, and it's actually a lot more fun when you're rooming with your friends compared to like staying in the dorms, TBH.
You can also room with your friends in the dorms.
Like
There's
not
a
in
double-
Finland.
Not in Finland.
Oh, not in
Finland,
Finland.
there's only single
Yeah.
rooms.
Oh.
Yeah, but in Hantan you get to room, but like Finland, no, you're getting single rooms. So.
Also, there's a lot more freedom when you live outside. Because when you live in the dorms, you have to. There is like some sort of a curfew. Like you can come home late, but you can't not come home for a few days. Actually, I'm not sure if they still have that now. It was like that during the COVID time. I'm not sure if it's the same now because during COVID, if you didn't come back to the dorm every single day, they will lock your room. Yeah. Yeah, they locked my room because I didn't come back to the dorm. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah.
I don't think they do that anymore.
They don't do it anymore.
I don't think
Also,
so.
just a
There's
COVID
There's no
time.
scanning system or anything. Anyone can just go in.
Oh.
And you can just go into the.
The door.
Oh no, the main campus. Yeah, like it's not the scanning thing. It's okay. Maybe it's a COVID thing. Cause like if you don't go to back to your dorm for a few days, you don't use the electricity, right? So they can tell that you're not using your electricity, then they lock your room.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Don't you have your own lock?
But what if I just want to be a hermit and turn off all my electricity?
I don't know. Okay, maybe it's like okay, you don't need this information. COVID times apparently. So, what is like the difference? What is the difference between living in the dorms and living outside of the campus for like cost wise?
I feel like it's almost the same depending on what kind of living situation you want, right? So like living in a dorms would be like 3,500 per person per month RMB, and if you live outside, it would be about the same price, if not higher.
Depends on the
is-
situation.
Yeah, it depends on the
Yeah.
situation. Also, if you're rooming with other people outside, so usually like in Xuhui区, like near the Fenglui campus, it's really expensive. So I would say like for if it's like a 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom, it's around like 8,000 RMB per month, around 8,000 RMB per month. So if you're rooming with someone, you can split it between 2 people. But if you're staying alone, like you're only a 1-bedroom apartment, it can range from like 5,000 to 7,000. And you have to
Maybe
like,
more.
yeah, or more. So and also because this is a city center and there's a lot of hospitals and schools, that's why the prices of the housing here is a lot more expensive.
Yeah, compared to Handan, I think it's like 2,000, I believe,
Mm,
if you're living
yeah.
outside. So a lot of the people actually choose to live outside. You pay like slightly more expensive, I think, but you get way more freedom. Yeah, but I mean, it depends on what you like. But yeah, Xuhui is definitely a more expensive place to live. Yeah.
Also for the dorms, you have to pay your electricity and water bills separately. Like I'm not sure about Fenglin, but in the Handan dorms, you have to go downstairs to like the lobby and then you have to pay like just 充卡. You just add money into it and then like to pay for your electricity and water bills. So you have to do that periodically, regularly.
If not, they'll cut your.
You have to cut your everything. Just
I heard someone showering and then they just cut off the
What?
shower.
So yeah, there was one time I was in my room and just the lights all went out. And I was just like, what happened?
Oh no.
Yeah, I didn't pay my bills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's the end of our questions for today and the end of our first episode.
Yay!
Yeah, thank you both for coming to our first ever
Yay.
FIMSO
Thank you for having us.
Beautiful. So thank you for listening to our first episode of FIMSO MedPod. If you have any suggestions or for future episodes, let us know in the comments. YouTube and
小红书。
Instagram. 小红书. Yeah. So and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye!
To the box.
What?
Bye to the box.
I
Guys,
did this.
bye.
I was here since the first year during COVID and